Hello there, welcome to this study guide which is going to help you to prep for your English GCSE reading paper. This is the AQA higher tier reading paper and we're going to be focusing in particular on question 4. Question 4 is the question which asks you to compare two of the texts you studied. Remember, you've read 3 texts, you've answered 3 questions already, and then you have to choose 2 to compare. It's really worth remembering that this question on its own is worth 16 marks. That's 8% of your GCSE. You therefore need to be spending a minimum of 20 to 25 minutes just on this question, because 8%, that's the same as a piece of controlled assessment just on this one question. Okay, 3 top tips to help you succeed on this question. Number 1, choose the correct evidence. Number 2, structure your answer properly for success. And number 3, we're going to compare in detail. This video guide is going to take you over all 3 of those things. So let's start with choosing the correct evidence. Behind me, you see a newspaper article. It's a non-fiction text, just like you have to look at in the exam. Now, in English, we'll often tell you that there are no wrong answers. However, for question 4, when you are choosing your evidence, there are wrong answers. And here they are. Colours, pictures, layout, font, structure, presentation, punctuation, bold lettering, paragraphs, captions, all of those presentational structural devices that you write about when you're asked about presentation structure, you do not write about them now. What do you write about? The question tells you language. So, some of the things you can write about, some of the evidence you can choose, words, adjectives, emotive language, things like repetition, similes, alliteration, onomatopoeia if it's there, metaphor, facts. If you have a look at one of our other videos, We Are Stars, that will give you loads of ideas of language features. Not all of these are going to be in every single text, but every text has words. Every text will have adjectives, most texts will have emotive language. So those are things you can nearly always write about, and then you've just got to find a couple of others that work. So, when you get there, when you're addressing question 4, the first thing you need to do is choose your evidence, and you're going to look for matching examples from each text. If you're picking an adjective from one text, you're going to pick an adjective from the other, and this is what that will look like. So you're going to highlight the correct evidence on your copy of the text. Text 1, if you choose an adjective. Text 2, you've got to find an adjective. Text 1, if you choose emotive language. Text 2, you've got to choose emotive language. Text 3, you might go for alliteration. Text 4, you therefore go for alliteration. Now you'll notice I've put adjective and emotive language in green. That's because you can nearly always find them. The third thing might be a little bit more variable. You might have to have a look at what's there. But what I'm recommending is 3 points per text with a matching language feature across both texts. Okay, you've highlighted that. What next? Well, next we've got to think about the structure of your answer, how you construct it. Structuring is really simple. What your teachers might have told you to do is to put everything you know about text 1, adjective, emotive language, alliteration, then everything you know about text 2, and link the 2 together with some kind of connected or linking comment. I am telling you that that is not the way to get the best marks. It's okay, you can do it well, but actually this is much more effective. Start with text 1, 1 point, little linking connective, then write about the same point in text 2. Then text 1, linking connective, text 2. Then text 1, linking connective, text 2. You see where we're going? So what we're looking for is 3 tight, structured paragraphs which cover both texts, rather than a big paragraph about each text. 3 points, 3 paragraphs, both texts in each. That is your exam structure. Finally then, we've got to think about what our answer actually looks like. We've chosen our evidence, we know how to structure it. What does the comparison look like? Well, grab yourselves a pen and write these down. Assessment objective 1, you're going to answer the question with reference to text 1. Assessment objective 2, choose your evidence from text 1. Assessment objective 3, analyse the language of the evidence. Now it's PE. It doesn't need loads of detail because you haven't got time. But PE on text 1. AO4, a connective linking to text 2. Similarly, on the other hand, whatever that connective is. AO5, repeat AOs 1 to 3 for text 2. AO6, final comparative comment. That's what each of your 3 paragraphs should look like. You then repeat that process, AOs 1 to 6, twice more. 3 paragraphs, 20 to 25 minutes. It's tough, but it's doable. Okay, I'm going to ask you to pause the video now so that you can write down these assessment objectives. You're going to need them in a second. So pause the video now. Okay, if Got those down, it's time to move on. Let's have a look now at what an actual exam answer looks like. Now obviously I haven't been able to give you exam texts here, but I'm just going to give you a couple of quotations, and they're quotations about healthy eating, obesity, the kind of thing you might get. So your question is this: compare the way the audience would respond to the language of the two texts. And the quotations I'm going to give you are: the obesity epidemic is leading this country into a sick future. That's one. And then from our other text we're going to have this: sometimes I don't care if it's healthy, I just want something tasty. Now, I'm going to ask you guys to write a paragraph comparing these two quotations, answering this question, and then I'm going to give you an example I've written. So you're writing one paragraph of your exam answer meeting all of the assessment objectives. You have 7 minutes to do so. Pause the video now. Okay, you've had your 7 minutes, you've written the paragraph. I'm not there to see yours, but what I can do is give you an example of a paragraph that I wrote comparing these two quotations. So, have a look at yours, see how it compares, tick off those assessment objectives as you meet them. Here's mine. The adjectives in text 1 would shock the reader. The obesity epidemic is leading this country into a sick future. The writer's use of the word sick is clearly intended to emphasise the catastrophic impact of obesity on the health of the nation, on its economy, and this might scare the reader into living a healthier lifestyle. On the other hand, there's that connective. The adjectives in the second text have a very different impact. Sometimes I don't care if it's healthy, I just want something tasty. Here the use of the adjective tasty is used to imply that the food is something which can be enjoyed without dwelling on the graver concerns of healthy living. Therefore, whilst both writers use adjectives, the effect achieved is quite different. You should be able to see all of those assessment objectives with the exception of the final one, because obviously we do this twice more in an exam, met in that paragraph. How does it compare to yours? Okay. This session, remember, it's question 4 in the higher tier reading paper for AQA, where you're asked to compare the language of two texts. You've got to remember this is worth 16 marks, that's 8% of your GCSE. You've got to choose the correct evidence. You've got to structure your answer like I showed you, and then what we're looking for is detailed comparison. Thank you for watching, I hope it's been helpful.